there is a third aspect to the mutual gaze of lovers, to the contemplative experience. If the first one is the gaze of meditation, where we're trying to understand God and understand ourselves in light of God, and the second is the gaze of enjoyment, the contemplative gaze, where we have joy in resting in the embrace of Christ. The third aspect is the gaze of ecstasy. And the Reformers call this where our soul is ravished by God. Now, we get glimpses of this in Scripture, both with Paul and John and Peter. So Paul in 2 Corinthians 12, 1-5, where he is talking about this experience, and he's like, was I in the body? Was I out of the body? And then in Acts 22, 17 and 18, he talks about the trance that he was in. And there is such mystery associated with this experience. John seems to record something similar in Revelation 1, 9-11, where he simply says he was in the Spirit, and he had these great visions that he records in the book of Revelation. The Apostle Peter has it in Acts 11, where again he goes into a trance and he has this vision. And Peter talks about this in Acts 2, in the Pentecost sermon, Acts 2, 14-18, where he's taken the prophecy of Joel and saying that visions and dreams are to be expected in the age ahead. Now, as we work through church history, we see different saints of old describing these experiences. Augustine describes them, in fact, once with his mother at the same time they share one of these experiences. Bernard of Clairvaux talks about having an experience like this. Richard Sibbes doesn't mention it. Isaac Ambrose certainly describes having one of these ecstatic experiences where his soul is ravaged. Jonathan Edwards' wife, Sarah Edwards, reports a similar experience. John Flavel, the Puritan, though he doesn't claim to have had such an experience, describes it. And with this type of contemplative experience, it is separate from, but an overflow of the contemplation of enjoying God. And so when saints of old, when they plan a contemplative experience, they might plan to do some meditation where they are understanding and exploring and wrestling, or they might plan to do more of a contemplative experience where they are enjoying resting in the presence of God. This third one is not something you plan. It is an overflow of the contemplative experience. We are at the mercy of God. If God's so sees fit to move in this way, it's at his discretion. And so this third aspect, the gaze of ecstasy, the mutual gaze of lovers, is describing this mysterious experience where you get glimpses of it in Scripture and you get reports of it through church history, but it is rare, mysterious, and yet something that our Reformed heritage embraced as a possibility that happens when God so chooses to move in this way.